Hey everyone, Tony from Cardboard Wars here. Um, the end of turn two, the Confederates still had control of Washington, and they were beginning to fortify it. And I ran across this rule that I had overlooked that if the Confederates capture Washington, their sea lift immediately drops to zero, the blockade percentage immediately drops to zero, although I'm not sure why the loss of the capital city would do all that, but that's neither here nor there. When they first captured it on turn one, there was a demoralized Confederate force in there, so that would have given them 10 points. Now, here at the end of turn two, there is an undemoralized uh, force in there, and they are in supply, so that gives them another 20 victory points. And since that puts them beyond what the U.S. has, that is the end of the game. The Confederates have won their independence. So it is because I made a major, major mistake that I will definitely keep an eye out for and not do in the future. Um, I will not take a smaller force up against an army that can react to where I'm going. So we're going to restart this. Uh, the Confederacy will have a shot at Missouri on the first turn. They will have a shot at West Virginia on the first turn, provided that I remember and do everything right. Um, I do think that I need to have Beauregard and Johnston swap places and have Johnston in charge of the Army of Northern Virginia rather than Beauregard. And then Beauregard can march off and try and recapture Virginia. But anyway, it's one of those things that I didn't realize at the time. But the first game is over. I've got to get my federal pants back on and sit down and figure all of this out. I think I've pretty much got the rules down, but I still may still make an error um, here and there. I'm still struggling with sea lift versus ocean going transports, but hopefully I'll figure it out someday. So the next part of this video is going to be the restart of the game. The thing that I really like about this game is that after it ends, you can set it up and play again, and it probably will not play out the way that it has in previous games. For example, the first turn of the last game that I played lasted basically one round and then it was done. And that was relatively short for a turn. It may be that this time around there's a few ties and it goes on a little bit longer. So I'm going to try basically the same strategy as the last time, where for the most part the Confederacy is going to try to dig in and fortify, try to take opportunities where they can, try to dislodge Lyon out of Springfield, Missouri. However, this time McDowell's not going to be coming out of Washington. At least not in the face of the Army of Northern Virginia, at least without the Army of the Potomac. Had he had the Army of the Potomac here in the last game when the Confederacy slipped into Washington. He may have been able to react and maybe save the city. But the game came and went pretty quick. So this time around, I'm going to start all over again. Fortunately, not very far into it. I went ahead and I pre-rolled the theaters and pre-rolled the command points. The Confederacy is making the West their primary theater and the East their secondary theater, whereas once again the Union is going to make the Trans-Mississippi their primary, the West will be the tertiary, and the East will be the secondary. So Union Initiative has a 5, and the Confederate Initiative is a 2. And the Confederates have the initiative. They get a quote-unquote free reinforcement, and they're going to bring in a leader. And let's see, where are we going to put this leader? We're going to draw a reinforcement first. So we're going to take one eastern strength point and we're going to put it into Staunton. And then we're going to take a leader and put them into Staunton. And here's a D6 roll, and we roll a 6, and that's Jeb Stewart. He can potentially cause a lot of problems. So there's one of 2. And let's see. And they're going to take another strength point and put it into Fayetteville, Arkansas. And that takes care of their Trans-Mississippi point. So now the Union gets 2. Wonder if Lyon could actually do something in the face of. Let's take a look at. So they'd be at 1 to 2. He could roll for small forces of 3, up to an 8, where he would demoralize Price's force, and Price could essentially destroy. So yeah, that's completely unwise. That's probably less wise than moving McDowell up against the Army of Northern Virginia. So what do we have here? We have 2. We're going to spend 2 naval command points and pull in the Navy. We're going to swing that around. And then we're going to put this into Philadelphia. Now, like I said at one point, the thing that I'm still unclear on the sea lift versus ocean going transports, whether I can move units via the sea lift without the transports, or if they have to use the transports. Are the transports just there for amphibious invasions? Like I said, it's something I'm still not 100% clear on. So the Union gets a 7, and immediately we get our first tie, as the Confederates also get a 7. So the table use goes to that. Goes to 1. And with a 7, the Union gets 64122. So 6, 4, 1, 2, 2, and the Confederates also get 6, 4, 1, 2, 2. Or actually, they get 1, 2, 1, 2. That gives them enough to actually do something. So now we once again roll for initiative. Union gets a 5. Confederates get a 9. They win the initiative. And that is a difference of 4. They get a free strength point, free reinforcement, or a free leader. Oh, that's what that is. So we're gonna try and we're gonna pull a leader out of the pool. We're gonna ignore a roll of a 6 and re-roll that. So 3, that's Hardy. 1, 2. So we're going to spend 3, 2 Trans-Mississippi points, and 1 discretionary point. So that's 3. And Price is going to attack Lion. And Price is attacking at 2 to 1. They have no die roll modifiers, whereas the Union has 2. So the attacker rolls first. They roll a 5, and the Union roll, or the defender rolls next. They get a 4 modified to a 6. So both are small forces. 2 to 1. So the attacker does the defender does a D1. While the Union is a 6, and they do just a demoralization. Flip. So, rolling for leader loss against Lion, he gets a 3. Let me spread this back out. Leader loss 3. 2-star killed. Well, fortunately, he's only a 1-star. Price gets a 7, and he has put in for promotion. Let's see, where am I? Not there. I'm right here. So we go Confederate leaders, 2-star leaders, Price goes down on turn 2. Now the question is, Lyon lost his force. He was not wounded, so is he eligible for promotion? So the answer is that because he's going back into the leader pool, he is not eligible for promotion. So he's going to have to sit and wait. So the Confederates still have 1 that they can spend. And they're going to pull a leader and put them in Fredericksburg. That's a 2-1-2 E.K. Smith in Fredericksburg. And that's that. Oh, I got to knock victory points. 1 victory point. Oh, it's Springfield's worth 1. I'm going to knock down a U.S. victory point. So, immediately the U.S. is reeling. So what do they want to do? Well, I think that the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to spend 3 Eastern Command points and fortify Washington even further. Delete nationality, these back. And we're going to spend 1 more command point, and we're going to move down and secure Charleston, West Virginia. We're going to take control of that. The Union is going to score 2 more victory points again. I don't know what's so important about Charleston. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's the 4 to spend. So we roll for initiative, and it is a 10 for the Union and a 9 for the Confederacy. Nationality. A difference of 1. And they get a free strength point, which they will put into Cairo. and they're going to pull a leader. We will re-roll any result of 9 or 10. That is an 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And it's Rosecrans. And honestly, there could be worse. I'm looking at you, Halleck. And maybe you, Banks. So now the Confederacy gets 1. What to do, what to do, what to do. So they're going to spend 1 discretionary and move this strength point. It's up in the middle of nowhere up to island number 10 and try to fortify that. Or reinforce it. So Union scores a 6. Confederacy scores an 8. It's a dice difference of 2. Let's see. In the west, they have 12, and it's just too bad island number 10 is not in the west. So immediately we're going to spend 6 command points and start fortifying Memphis and Nashville. 3, 4, 5, 6, 2, and what the hell am I thinking? I saw this 12 was like, oh, we got 12 that we can spend. Okay, so let's back up just a little bit. Delete. Delete. Silly me. So we get a free strength point. We'll put it in Nashville. And we have 2 that we can spend. We're going to spend 2 Eastern Command points. And Jeb Stuart, 2, 3, 4, moves to Grafton. Not what I want to do. No. 2. So what do I need to do to capture a town? Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. And then they spend a 5th movement point and they can take control of Grafton. Shift, Control, N. And that removes 2 victory points from the U.S. Grafton is 2, right? No, just 1. So it removes 1 from the U.S. Adds 1 to the Confederate States, and they have another 1 for the capture of Springfield. However, they will be out of supply. And I do believe that that is it. Yeah, so now the Union gets 2 command points. They're going to put a leader in Pittsburgh. We're going to ignore 8, 9, or 10. So 7, Pope. Very capable general, but got a bad rap after the Second Manassas. And then we're going to put a strength point there. So again, initiative. 7 for the Union, 9 for the Confederacy. Oops. There's a difference of 2 again. So again, using the 2 Eastern Command points, the Confederates are going to establish the Army of Northern Virginia with 4 strength points. Because it caused the Union so many problems the last time. But in response, the Union is going to immediately form the Army of the Potomac. With 7 strength points. So that's 2 each. So the Union now rolls a 10, and the Confederacy rolls a 3. That is a difference of 7. And it should allow the Union to run wild for a while. So we're going to put a strength point into Chambersburg, Pennsylvania. What do I do with my things? Strength point, Control S. We're going to spend 3 Eastern Command points to move Pope. to, and they're going to move straight into Grafton. We're going to roll for leader loss for Stewart. That's a 12, so he's fine, and the cavalry retreats. And the Union recaptures Grafton. It would be correct to say Virginia at this point. And takes back their victory point. So that's 3. We're going to pull a lead. The Union's going to pull a leader to put into Philadelphia. 5, 6. They get a 3, and they get Burnside. That's 4. Oh, I should have done that. That's 5. They're going to spend 1 to move this to Rolla. That's 5. So we got 2 left. I think I'm going to put 1 there and 1 in New Albany. Okay, so now it is the Confederates' turn. They need to get rid of this demoralization marker, but they don't have the command points to do it. So that may hurt them. Okay, so the Confederates going to pull a leader into the Army of Northern Virginia. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You get a 6, and that's Longstreet. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that's Jackson. So the Army of Northern Virginia is actually pretty stacked up. Then what are we going to do with Bragg? So there's 2. They're going to spend a Western Strength point, put it into New Orleans. Well, where can I put Bragg? Those are not eligible. Gotta put a strength point in Staunton. That's 4. They're going to put Bragg there. He's about the equal of McClellan. 5. 1, 2, 3. 3 is New Orleans. 4, 5. And how many do we have to spend? We have 2 more. Spend 2 to pull Stewart back. He can retreat, but the other one cannot. But I think he's in a better position. So that's 5, 6. Hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's 7. So the Union rolls a 7. Confederacy rolls an 8. Dice difference of 1. The Confederates have no more leaders. They have a few strength points. Reinforce the Army of Northern Virginia. Reducing them to 0. Oh, and last turn would have been a good turn to start building some forts. They got 1 left. Can't really do a lot with 1. So we're going to put a strength point into Memphis. Now, the Union is going to pull a leader to put into New Albany. This is their 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5, and it's Halleck. So McClellan is the number 1 3-star. Fremont and Halleck, 2 of the worst Union generals. Fremont, I think, being the absolute worst. Being 2 and 3. So they're definitely going to have to go. Initiative 9. Yeah, 9 for the Union, 6 for the Confederacy, so that is 3. So we have 1 discretionary command. We're going to put it here. And we are going to finally build that fort in Memphis. Fort. Oops. Up there. So now the Union gets 3. How many leaders do they have left? 1, 2, 3, 4. Curtis and Foote are the only decent ones. Banks and Buell are not exactly outstanding. Of course, this is typical for the Union at the beginning of the war. Let's see. I have to spend 3. New Western. I have 12. But I still don't have enough to activate Fremont. So what we may have to do is we're going to have to pull a leader in to Jefferson City. Banks, Buell, Curtis, Foote. We're going to re-roll a 5 or a 6. We get a 5, re-roll, 5, re-roll, 4. And of course it's Foote. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Again for Jefferson City. It's a 6. So Curtis takes command. And then we're going to spend our final, let's see, Control S. We are going to take Foote and move him over to, via rail, we're going to move him over to Philadelphia. Who is that, General Burnside? Well, historically, he did go down there. So I did spend it, yes. 1, 2, and then 3. Okay. One more initiative. 3 for the Union, 6 for the Confederacy. It's a difference of 6, or a difference of 3. Confederacy again has the initiative. One discretionary strength point. Gonna put it into Strasbourg. So that was their freebie, and now they're gonna spend 3 more command points. To build a fortress in Memphis. Delete. So one of the 5, I believe. Yes. Clone. Who do I have left in the pool? Banks and Buell. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This goes to Philadelphia. We get a 6, so it's. I was hoping it was Nathaniel Banks, but it's going to be Don Carlos Buell. So there's 1 spent. We're going to spend 2 to have Foot activate 2 naval command points. Foot activates Buell and a strength point. Wilmington, Carolina. And we are going to run Fort Fisher, heading straight for Wilmington. And the fortress fires, gets a 2, which is, I'm pretty sure, no effect. Naval combat, unmanned 4-1 unmanned fortress, 2 is no effect. So these attack Wilmington with a strength of 2-1. And I believe that Foot gets to impact the combat. So that's interesting. The terrain, column shifts with the terrain are completely ignored. So Foot will add a +1, but Buell will take away that 1. So this is 2-1 because of the intrinsic strength there at 0. And both sides are small forces. So the attacker gets a 3. So 1, 2, 3. They demoralize the defending force. And the defenders do nothing. So X takes a square. Wilmington, North Carolina is now under the control of the Union armies. Let's pull this back. So, put that there. C, put that there. So I personally, I know that Fort Fisher is there to protect Wilmington, North Carolina, even though it looks like you could technically slip in here and avoid the fort. I'm going to fire anyway. I did 2. So the force, nothing. The North Carolina militia, if any are available. North Carolina militia being called out to Fayetteville, North Carolina. Now, that is 2 victory points for the Union. 1, 2. It is a reduction of 5 for the port capacity. 5. Now I just need to figure out how to take the fortress itself. But I believe that historically, Burnside had landed either here at New Bern or at Morehead City. And I think it was primarily because there was no fortress. And he started to, I think he maybe pushed in as far as New Bern, possibly in 1861, but I'd have to look that up. So, did I get everything? Because I don't have to reduce the CSA victory points. It doesn't count. But I will have to probably build a supply depot there. I'm going to have to look that up to see if this fortress interferes with supply at all. So now I need to check for leader loss. Let me find my leader loss table. I need to check for Buell 3-star. He rolls a 12, so he's fine. And then Foote rolls a 9, so he's good. So we are starting to run out of so the Union has one left in. Oh, nice. This module has some very strange quirks to it, such as having random counters appear when you save a game, when you reopen it. So we'll just move those out of there so that they're out of the way. And what was I doing? Yes, initiative. We're starting to run out of reinforcements and leaders. The Union still has one leader, and the Union rolls a 2, and the Confederacy rolls a 7, so that's a dice difference of 5. And they have the initiative. They have no more strength points to bring in. No more leaders. So let's see what's going on here in Tennessee. So they're going to spend 3 Western strength or Western command points and start building a fort in Nashville. And let's see. I can never remember which one's supposed to be the biggest. Let's look at the armies. Army of Tennessee. Greece. Oh, it's not going to tell me, so let's put it on the map. So that can go to 20, and the Army of Mississippi appears to also be able to go to 20. Or maybe it's 10 and 15. So, okay. So it looks like 10 and 15. Oh, great. So there's no way for me to delete that once they're placed. Nice. So I wonder if... Yeah, they're just going to go join their compatriots over there because the designers of this game did not feel the need to be able to delete things. Okay, so we're going to spend 2 more to create the Army of Tennessee. And we're going to give it... delete. Let's go Control D. No, that won't work. So we're going to put the Army of Tennessee there. That's their 5. The Union still has 1 leader, Nathaniel Banks. And where can we put him that he can't cause too much trouble? Let's see. I don't especially want to put him in the West. Oh, he is so horrid. Not going to put him in Washington, D.C. because he outranks McDowell. McDowell is bad enough. I can't leave him out, unfortunately. So we'll just go ahead and put him in Indianapolis. So there's 1. Actually, on second thought, no, we're just going to leave him there. But we're going to have to start removing some of these leaders. Let's see. So that we have 4 left. Let's see. We have 11 Trans-Mississippi. 1 command points. We have 2 discretionary. We're going to create that. So there's 2, and then 3. 1, 2, 3. We're going to activate Curtis and move him down to Rolla to at least we can get a decent leader in between Price and St. Louis. So that's 5. So now we roll initiative again. And the Union rolls a 5. Confederates roll a 9. So that is a dice difference of 4. And Confederates still have the initiative. But they don't have many command points left. No leaders are available. We only have 1 west and 1 discretionary. So what can I do with 1? So we're going to activate Johnston. We'll use our discretionary, and we will move him into across Maryland and into West Virginia, or just across Maryland. So it's 1, 2, 3. And we'll take control of the rail lines there. So that if Stuart sallies forth again, he will at least be in supply this time. That's 3 out of 4. So what can we do with one command point? What can we do with a single command point? Command point cost. Move a tribal Indian. Oh, that's far west. Move 1 SP. Move 1 NSP. Move a leader. And that's pretty much it. And so it has to be in the west. My dog's asleep. So we're going to take this 1 strength point here. And we are going to move it into Fort Morgan, Alabama. And I'm even tempted to put move this into Fort Pike. Combat charts, naval combat results. Manned fortress. Because it increases the chances of destroying Union forces trying to do an amphibious landing. So let's look. We have no more leaders in the leader pool. We have no more strength points to bring in. The Union has to spend 4. We've got 8. We have no more leaders. So we're going to start by spending 2. And fortifying St. Louis. So there's 2. Oh, we still have strength points to spend. So we're going to put a discretionary in St. Louis. Increase 3. I got one more I gotta spend. I need to get a leader in Chambersburg. You know what? I'm going to spend one discretionary command point, and I'm going to get these guys out of here before the Confederates get around to attacking it. But they're not going to be part of the Army of the Potomac yet. That's 1, 2. And we're going to put three, 4, 5. And we roll for initiative. And at this point, let me just double check and make sure there are no strength points, no command points, and no leaders. So the Confederates can't do anything more. It's all Union from this point forward. So the Union rolls a 2 again. The Confederates roll a 9. That's a dice difference of 7. And like I said, it is all Union at this point. So we're going to spend 3. 1. Let me make sure that there's 2 in there. 2, 3, 4, and attack Price's demoralized force. It's in the open. Nobody's going to get any modifiers. Combat results. And attacking a demoralized force is 1 shift to the right, I think. So yes, there's a column shift to the right. So we attack on the +1, +2. So the Union attacks, rolls a 1. And this seems to be the name of the game whenever I roll combat. And the defenders roll a 4. So the 1 is no effect. The 4 is demoralized. So Curtis and his forces demoralized. Or Curtis has to retreat out of the hex, and his force is demoralized. So now we roll for Curtis. He rolls a 10. We roll for Price. He rolls an 8, so they're both fine. So that is 3. So we're immediately going to spend 3 more to rally the Union forces so that they don't lose a strength point. And then we're going to finally put that strength point in the west. We're preparing for Grant to show up because I will end up putting him in Cairo no matter what. So now we have to roll for initiative again. And the reason that we're doing this is because it may end up being a tie again. So the Union rolls a 7 and the Confederacy rolls a 5. It's a dice difference of 2. And they get a free strength point, which they only have 1 left. They have no leaders available. Did Curtis come in this turn? Yes, Curtis came in this term. So I don't think he's eligible for promotion this turn. Let's see. We have an E strength point. We're going to put that into the Army of the Potomac. And we are going to activate McClellan. Let's get rid of this. There's an Eastern command point, so we're going to spend a discretionary command point, and he can move 12 hexes, and then he can move as far as we want him by rail. So he's going to go all over Ohio to there, back through Zanesville. Up north through Pittsburgh and down through Pennsylvania to Harrisburg, and then where does that come in? Down through Baltimore and into Washington, where McDowell is now no longer in command. So that's one. So we're going to spend the other discretionary to send McDowell the opposite direction and put him in Columbus. So there's the two. Confederates don't have any. So initiative. Union rolls a 7, and the Confederacy rolls a 7. That ends the turn. So the Union is in complete control. Let me dump the last command points. Put the table use at 2. Reset that. Now let me double check my victory points. So the Union has control of all victory point cities in West Virginia. So that's 2 for Wheeling, 2 for Charleston, 1 for Grafton. So that's 5. And then we get another 5 for control of the state, and West Virginia is now considered friendly territory. So that's a total of 10. So over here in Missouri, we have Lexington, which is 1, Jefferson City, which is 1, and St. Louis, which is 3. So that's 5. So that would put us at 15. Plus Missouri is up for grabs and is not friendly territory to either side yet. And then Wilmington is 2. So 5 and 2 is 7, plus 10 is 17. And that's what we've got. Now, I have the Confederates with 1 victory point, and that's for Springfield, Missouri. Let's see, Wilmington is 5. So I gotta go back. No, not to that one. To this one. And that's at 35. Because next turn the blockade will go up to 10%. And that the blockade effects. Where would the blockade table? So port capacity is at 35. So 10% would knock it down to 32. Plus Wilmington is worth 2. So production drops to 98. And next turn, would be 32 minus 2, so 130. Let's see. Let's go back out. Rallying phase. This force is rallied, but they lose a strength point, which puts Curtis in a much better position, especially if Hardee cannot react and get there in time to save Price. Oh, look at all that red. I don't have any more demoralized forces anywhere. So that looks like that is it for the turn. I don't think I made any mistakes. I don't even think I made any strategic mistakes this time. Of course, I'm sure somebody will let me know if I made a mistake, and it'll probably be something that I'll sit there and go, what, really? But the Confederacy, I think, is pretty well deployed in Virginia. I've just got to get a leader there. Should probably move E.K. Smith up there from Fredericksburg. No. Who do they have coming in next turn? On turn 2, let's go ahead and put that in the leader pool. DHL, Pemberton, and Van Dorn. Ah, Van Dorn, yeah, we'll put, yeah, whatever. Van Dorn's he was a great organizer, and he could get his troops moving quickly. When you look at the Battle of Pea Ridge, he actually had a great idea. And I'm not sure what happened with him after the Battle of Pea Ridge, but he moved from Fayetteville, Arkansas, around behind Pea Ridge, near the Missouri border, and came at the rear of Curtis, and caught Curtis completely off guard. But he had the worst luck when who was it? It was Generals McCullough. McCullough was killed in action, and the the next ranking officer, General McCintish, was killed shortly thereafter. So all of a sudden, part of his army was completely leaderless, and then they were looking for Colonel Hebert, who got lost in a small thicket of woods and ended up being captured. The weather was really cold at that point, and yes, Van Dorn left his supply trains behind, but he was trying to move fast, trying to catch Curtis in the rear, which he did at first. While the battle did take place, the Union forces did swing around, and they stood their ground. It was just, I hesitate to say unfortunate. In a sense, it was unfortunate for the Confederates that so much of their leadership was just killed. You know, how much of the blame for that you can lay at Van Dorn's feet, I don't know. I don't think you can really do that much. But I think that in some cases, and I don't really know much about Van Dorn after that, but I think in many cases he had a good idea. He just may not have known how to execute it properly. Regardless, he is the worst general, rated as the worst general in the Confederate Army. So, is there a use for him? I don't know. I would seem to think so. Because he is rated the same as Robert E. Lee and Thomas Jackson as far as being able to move with few initiative points. And since the Confederates get very few initiative points or command points for the Trans-Mississippi, he may be needed there. And if you can get enough subordinates to offset his lack of rating or his poor tactical rating, if he's in command of an army, he will never overcome the army command rating, which gives up, what, 3 rerolls? Leaders. Let's take a look at Van Dorn. Well, yeah, 3-star leaders. Take a quick look at Van Dorn. 221. He gives up 2 rerolls to the enemy. And I believe that he is the worst rated of all of the 3-star generals in the Confederacy. But he comes in next turn. And if he's in charge of an army, and it's like, here's Pea Ridge up here in this hex. But if he's in charge of an army, he might be able to do things in Missouri. But the first thing that the Confederates need to do is they need to get a supply depot built there in Springfield. So, anyway, I've rambled on enough. So far for the Union, this game is going much better than the first one did. You know, at least Washington is not in danger of being lost. But some areas like Missouri, they're more up for grabs. So I will be back soon with I think I'm gonna call this episode 3, and the next one episode 4, and we'll get Grant moving down the Mississippi and see if we can get him promoted. We've got to get some armies. We've got to get rid of some of these commanders. We've got to get rid of Fremont. We've got to get rid of Halleck. What is Butler? Butler is 4, and I think, is Butler the worst or is Fremont the worst? Fremont is the worst, but Butler's a close second. I could potentially take one of these guys, one of these gentlemen, and send them down towards New Orleans. After all, that's what they did with Benjamin Butler. So, anyway, until next time, take care, everybody. See you soon.